Um, Hi there, I'm Danny Henderson. Welcome back to my disclosure channel. Two of the people right now that you can see are seriously two of the single most important disclosure experts on the entire planet in December of 2024. First of all, we're going to introduce the great, the one and only Tony Rodriguez, who'll give a small synopsis of who he be from his beginning to this moment now. Tony Rodriguez, please introduce yourself, sir. Do not hold back.
Fast synopsis. I was taken when I was a kid and went through many black covert programs into the 20 and back phenomenon, career return program, whatever you want to call it. Essentially taken and lived and was exposed to high tech culture and life in the solar system and came back and got my memories back around 2015. Disclosed, wrote some books about it, and now I'm working to unpack the technologies that I remember, and they're coming along good. So what I'm doing now is based on my memories, and a lot of the evidence that I've dug up has panned out. And so I have a lot of supporting evidence that sadly not enough people have these days. So I'm working on recreating the technologies I remembered, and it's working. So how's that? Was that quick?
So good. That's
Too
so
too
good.
fast?
Oh no, that was great because we can come back and cover elements of that too. And now over to the one and only, the great Elena Danam. Tell us who you be, what happened in the beginning, and what you're doing now.
Hi everyone. I have been in contact, physical contact with extraterrestrials since I am a child, and I have been abducted by gray aliens and rescued by personnel of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, tall blonde Nordics as we call them. I've been in contact physically with these people, all these good people, all my life, and I have also the use of technology to communicate with them. I never did channeling or this type of things. It's about physical contact. And through to this day, and I decide to accept to pass on their messages and become a civilian emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds. And I keep updates of everything that's going on in the galaxy every week, and writing books about my experience, my life with extraterrestrial contacts, and helping humanity and guiding everyone through this step of transition and liberation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That is not easy to do. It is not easy to do a synopsis, especially of your two lives and the many lives. Like you both did really beautiful there. It's interesting. You both actually mentioned something really, really important, which is regaining memory, remembering, recognizing. And Tony, I know that on your work, your projects that you put out for the public, since your own recalling of former memories, you help people track their memories and work on timelines. And Elena, from the start of you coming out into the public in 2020, 2019, 2020, and speaking on ETs, over that time, you also were at a bandwidth where you could also regain and recognize former memories. So those of you that saw you back then that see you now will notice a very steep gradient of shift and what you now deliver. Elaine, I'll come to you first. Can you give us some understanding of how you were able to regain those locked memories?
Well, my journey, as I made it public and everybody could follow my journey live throughout my videos and my social media appearances, um, is similar to the pattern of everyone's journey, recovering who they are and remembering who they are. This is not something that you can do with external help. You need to remember by yourself, do the process yourself to reactivate your memories. This is very important. Before I came public in 2020, I had a continuous vivid memory of my abduction by extraterrestrials, because I was anyways in contact with them all my life. But there was a little few hours of one night of my abduction by grace that was been blocked because it was traumatic. So I had the help of hypnosis to recover these few hours that complete the whole puzzle. So that's how I I came to remember this. And then once these memories were retrieved to me, I could start my own journey by myself with the help of my extraterrestrial contacts to remember my past lives, but most who I am, I wouldn't say who I was, because who we have been is composes the whole of who we are. Who I was 5 minutes ago, it's who I am now. It's completing. It's a whole. It's a whole. The past, present, future. It's a whole. So the journey of remembering who I am was a personal inner process of integrating slowly the understanding of the lives and the missions I have had and who I am today, the sum of everything. And people have seen me change throughout these 4 years, 5 years now, because I actually was on YouTube in 2019 while I was writing my book. So it's 5 years now. People have seen the change. And this is quite extraordinary because it has inspired so many people to go within and look within themselves, to remember their own memories. And you need no external help. And well, I find, my friendship with Tony Rodriguez really helped me a lot because, yeah, he guided me by a few words. He said, he gave me guidelines. He's running a course on his website about retrieving yourself, your memories, the recall course. I didn't follow it fully, but he gave me some key instructions for me to find out for myself and remember. And that was magical because thanks to him, you really helped me, Tony, I have to say. So I need to mention it.
Thank you. Thanks.
So wonderful.
Wow. I don't know what to say.
Tell us, Tony, how you also discovered, bearing in mind you were kidnapped at 10 by ETs, you were put into a military program known as a 20 and back, which is a phenomenal technology that has existed for many, many decades that the military hide, but they could basically take a child and keep them for 20 years, and then they're in their bed the next morning because of the time warping and the time technology, which for most people, they're like, what are you talking about? Am I watching Star Trek? No, you're not. You're watching reality, unfortunately. Tony Rodriguez, how did you then come back at 10, having been gone for 20 years, and recover the memories of your time growing up as an adult in a sickening military program, please?
I think a lot of people, thanks, Danny, and thanks, Elena. You guys know I love you guys, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm honored to be here with you. And for you to say that I helped you, Elena, in any of the work that you're doing, the great work you're doing, I'm very honored by that. My own journey it's weird that it's similar but so different. And I went a different route into space and back. The memories were there. So the really high the emotional memory is still there. So Elena, I would assume that when that happened to you and you went back, you had no memory of what happened, but you had the emotional trauma. You had an emotional connection to
Exact.
it. You still have the PTSD
PTSD,
of the traumatic. You wake up and we see this time and time again. We see it in family trees of people that are abducted repeatedly. Mom's abducted, grandpa's abducted, dad's abducted. All of a sudden, right at dad's got everything together, working at the law firm, and boom, turns into an alcoholic, or he changes greatly, huge life change. And it's because of the emotional trauma that comes back from these programs, from this just meeting an ET that's non-human, even if it's the friendliest, most loving thing, is a traumatic experience for us because we've only experienced humans in our life that can speak to us. And to have one in your mind all of a sudden telepathically saying, "Hey, good morning," is a sense of trauma. It's a shock. And so that feeling, those emotions come back with them, even when they erase your memory. And I had the emotions, the disturbances of what was happening from the 20 years, from 10 years old into my 30s. I had the emotional memories there. and they were coming back. But I got an MRI scan in 2015 and got my memories back, the bulk of my memories back, and researched it. And I went, my first interview was in 2016, so a couple years before Lena. And I was trying to put it together in interview to interview. And then I finally landed on a skeptical one. And they said, well, how'd you brush your teeth? How did you, what was the shower like? Describe the toilets. Like they weren't asking me about lasers and Mars aliens and the typical questions. They asked me the mundane stuff, and I really struggled to remember those mundane things. And I said, this is real. I know the memories are real. I had looked up places that were real. I remembered places on Earth that I lived that I had no memory of and knew my way around. And so I said, I should be able to remember this. I should. And I began exercising it every morning. I was trying different techniques, and that's how I arrived on what's on my website, the memory course. I created an exercise, and I'll say right now that what the basis of it is it's a muscle. Our mind to remember long-term things works like a muscle, and we just never use it. 99% of our day is short-term memory. All day long, you're remembering what you thought yesterday or today or the day before. It's all within 2 weeks, most of your thinking. And so your short-term memory is very strong, and our long-term memory of what you were doing in your childhood is very weak. And so it works like a muscle that you can flex it, and you can get stronger with it. And I started dwelling on that. Like I remembered going to work on another planet. So we were talking about that earlier. We have a lot of people have seen UFOs. Few have worked on one and remember it. But I remember going to work and I thought, man, I had to get up and brush my teeth. What was the protocol there? And I would try to remember. You struggle. It's like lifting a weight, but it's a different feeling. When you're trying to remember a song or somebody's phone number, you go, oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. And then what I found was the action of trying to remember and then purposely not remembering. Say, okay, I'm done for now. And then waiting a day and doing it again, purposely remembering, lifting that weight of reaching for a long-term memory, activating the long-term, and then letting it rest. And what happens is over the night, your subconscious is still looking for it. And then I thought, oh my God, now I remember they were disposable, these crappy little toothbrushes, and they were in plastic and they were made out of this cheap biodegradable plastic. They were terrible. And they didn't have many bristles, and we would brush and we only had a minute to do it. And I remember I was like, oh God, and now I remember the whole showers, the whole morning scene routine that they made us do. And those memories came back. And when I did that, I thought, this works. Because it was years. This was a couple of years that I worked on how to remember. And it worked. And so I made a little film where it's down right now on the website. So people are going to look for it. And it's down, but it's getting a revamp. And it'll be back up on my website soon. The memory course, I think a lot of people have had a lot of positive feedback, and most contactees that I've worked with have very, very fragmented memories. So only the initial discovery of ETs, some weird stuff, something traumatic, and then waken up the next day kind of thing. Like that's the sum of most people's memories. And this is a wide phenomenon that happens to a lot of people, has happened to a lot of people. So don't let me ramble too long. I think that answers that question.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Now, one thing you mentioned was the fact that you had an MRI, a scan that actually kick-started the memory recall. Was it because you were inside a tube with a very violent road drill mechanism, pneumatic noise coming that triggered something in your mind? What was it?
So, remember Dr. Lee Merritt, who was at the last GSIC? Over dinner, we were talking about this story. So the reason that I say MRI, I didn't even think about it. I got my memories back and then went and did interviews. And a year later, someone said, Michael Ralph also got his memories back after he got an MRI, the Mars records. Dr. Michael Saller recommended that I read the Mars records. And I went, wait a minute, I got an MRI. And I looked up online. I looked at my medical records, and it was 10 days before the memory recall that I had an MRI of my head. So there's an oxygenation that happens on your brain, on your cells when you're in an MRI, in that strong magnetic field.
That is extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. Now, in terms of memories, there are other ways that people also get memories back from the past. And I'll give an example of myself. When I was growing up, I always would catch sight of a little girl with long dark hair, long dark wavy hair. And as a tiny child, I always had this longing to find her. I'm going to find her. I'm going to find her. And then one day, years later, I was in the cinema, and I don't, to this moment, can't tell you who I went with. I have no idea. And it was what I was watching Wonder Woman, the new Wonder Woman movie, the last one. I thought it was an absolutely dreadful, dreadful film, apart from the first few minutes. And in those first few minutes, there's that little girl, and she's training, and she's running, and she's training with other children. And all of a sudden, this is way before Elena Danan and I physically reconnected in this life, I came undone. I was sobbing. I feel the emotion of it now in my body every time I talk about it. I was sobbing, shaking, crying. I was freaked out, sitting in my chair in the cinema going, oh my God, I know her. I know her. I know her. I'm aware I'm watching a film, but what I'm actually doing is watching the film in my mind come to life. And that was my pivotal moment, that when I saw Elena again physically, I'm like, oh my God, it's her, it's her, it's her. And it is her. And we together over these years have also put our memories back together in conversations we've had, or I've called her or she's called me, or we've been in person and I've said, I remember this. This is what happened. This is how I remember it. And sometimes we both said, I don't remember that. And then after a while we go, was it this? And then we slowly, gently, haven't we, Lainey, put pieces together of our past life memories together.
Yes. Yes, that was quite impressive and a beautiful way of remembering what we have shared. And I had the pieces that were missing for you and reverse, So it was incredible.
And then I'll just mention another quick, beautiful event that occurred for you and I. Again, doing this to help people out there remember their memories, because most of us have them, but we weren't all Wonder Woman, obviously. Again, a couple of years ago, you and I were in the British Museum in London, and we'd met there for various things. We wanted to have a look at the Anunnaki tablet, so I just have one on my table. I've moved it. And various different things. And I said to you, like you say to me, leave me alone for a couple of hours. I'll call you at certain time. If you're there, we'll meet in the cafe or something, because you and I individually like to get lost in these museums and art galleries, and we don't want anyone to bother us. And so we're in the museum at the same time, and we're wandering around, and we haven't seen each other yet. And then on the top floor, in the Mesopotamian room, right in front of a glass cabinet that holds the ancient Akpulu, the images of the seven scientists, we just so happened to be at that glass cabinet at the same moment. I was there first, and I'm looking in, and really staring and really focusing on this cabinet, and I'm aware, and it was almost like there was a silence. There was no one else there in the world, but this essence stood beside me. And at first I felt her energy frequency, and she felt like a fairy. It was that light. And then I caught a glimpse of her long dangly earring, and I look, oh my God, it's Elena. It was Elena. And so we hugged. We haven't seen each other since the last Jessic. I think this was like 2 years ago we went, around about that time. And then we were sitting down in the cafe together. And then Elena said to me, Ia is connecting, and he is so delighted. And he said, I am happy that you both met each other today there in front of that particular cabinet. Right, Lena?
Yes, yes. I was coming from Ireland, and you were coming from somewhere else in England, and we had planned to meet in this museum, and it was really, really incredible that we met at that particular place where we could, it was the evidence we were coming to find. And it's not easy to find. It was the tablets of the Hathra Hazis, and the story of the flood when Enlil says, gathers all the gods and says, I'm going to destroy the earth because the humans are doing my head. They're too loud, meaning they are too much sovereign and taking too much independence. And Enki trying to reason all the gods, no, don't do it, it's insane, don't do that, don't destroy humanity, and fighting for humanity. And we found each other in front of this ancient text, written, carved in clay, the evidence. And I know Ia guided us to meet there. And later on, he connected with me first, but I didn't tell you first. I was connecting with him. Yes, he said that. And then another time, still in the cafeteria, I connected with him, but I didn't tell you. And you turned at me and you looked at me and you went, you're connecting with something. I said, yes. Yeah, you said to me, your eyes. And she said, they are so blue, they are bluish. And you asked me if Ia had blue eyes. And I said, yes, I'm in contact with him. So he guided you, he connected with you, and he guided you to the Apkallu. And it was quite incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. And so that, you lovely people watching, are some of the ways that we then retain or regain or recognize memories that we have brought into this current life together. And people talk about past lives. Of course we've had them. Of course we have. Most people on the planet, I would say, have. Sometimes you can see somebody and you go, oh my God, brand new soul. Here for the last hurrah, here to just watch everything. And you're like, oh dear God, not being, sarcastic, but some of them are bloody funny, aren't they? And some people I've met a couple, they're like, I know everything. I know, I'm the one. I came and I'm like, oh, yeah, oh mate, oh sit down, puppet. But anyway, so we're regaining memories. We're not all He-Man, Tarzan, the Queen of the Universe. But there's different ways that we do actually recall. And so these are some of the ways that Tony and Elena and I are sharing with you, lovely guys. Other ways is something I'm able to do. I'll speak for myself because my friends here have similar, same, and different talents. I can look at someone and I can look and I can see their frequencies. I can see the dimensions. I can see if there's an attachment or not. I can see if there's a dis-ease in them or not. I can hear their frequency. I can look at someone and I can feel into where they have come from. Other incarnations, sometimes it's as simple as just looking at their physicality and looking at the physical signatures that someone wears, that someone has, or someone presents, meaning that I can look at someone and say there's a Lyran connection, there's a Pleiadian connection, there's a Syrian connection here from Sirius B or A, for example. So, Tony, let's come to you. How else would you share that people can recall, or examples where you've remembered or recognized someone or something, and that's real for you that you can help other people with?
Wow. So there's a lot there to unpack. So there's a lot of methods. I teach remote viewing, and remote viewing is a gateway drug to the rest of the universe, is the way I look at it. So learning the process of the meditation and getting in touch with where the information comes from is basically the first steps in doing what you were just talking about doing. So it's the beginning of that. It's learning to unconnect your mind from being in a world where you need to make a sandwich and pay bills to connecting to information of the greater whole of the universe and understanding your existence more than what you just are as a body, right? So I teach that, and it all starts with basically exactly that, like disconnecting your thoughts from the surrounding, like turning your mind off so that you can listen to where other brain neurons reside in your body, all down your tract, your nervous system and your digestive tract. There are brain neurons all over. So we have a gut feeling and we have a heart feeling, right? I find that remote viewing information comes from here up. The information comes in here. You feel it here first, and then you go, oh, it's a ball. I see a ball. I see the target. There's a, you feel it here, and then you interpret what that information is. And that, for me, after doing it for years and teaching it to people, has turned into something else where I actually am listening. I'm turning off my mind regularly. I call it the stoplight meditation, right? So just while you're sitting at the stoplight, people think that you should meditate for like 8 hours a day and be this Buddhist monk and sit in this uncomfortable position. And that's the only way you can meditate, that you have to be all in at it. But really, I found that I call it the stoplight. So every time you take a minute, just shut off your brain, quit thinking, just quit thinking altogether, just for a second. And all day long, it's an all day thing. And that action of thinking about your situation you're in, the temperature, are you hungry? Do I have an itch? Or, like all that's cognitive thinking. Shutting that off for a minute and then going back to it, that action makes that muscle strong and makes you be able to listen to your intuitive self. So that's what I teach people for accessing information. It's the same thing. So then I use it when I am trying to solve a problem or like my own thing. Like, should I do this or not? Should I go right now and do that? And I'll shut off and quit thinking and listen here for what's happening, and go, I don't really feel like I should. I'm going to go ahead and pass. And then it's usually pans out. That's your intuitive voice. So I don't know how far away I'm getting from the original question, Danny, because there was a lot there. I remember that there was like 2 or 3 versions of stuff I wanted to touch on.
No, it's
But that's
perfect.
kind of the basis of what I teach. What's that?
It's perfect. What you're saying is perfect. It's perfect. It's like the different ways that we all can read, as in we, as in humanity. We all have different talents and skills, and what we're doing here is sharing ours to help people remember they have their own and different ways that they can unlock those talents and read.
So I want to say this: we're at a dangerous time. And this is my opinion. We're at a dangerous time in the course of history because people are really unlocking these abilities, like what you're doing, and not what Elena's doing. She's listening to a device. So, but getting in touch with our intuitive self and across the board, because of the connectivity nowadays, people are being able to access information on how to hone their psychic senses, their sixth sense, ESP, whatever you want to call it. I don't like a lot of the verbiage, but we're also at a time we're on the precipice of when they want to give us implants. And it's a dangerous time that we would either go to a conscious state of psychic ability, to a raised psychic ability of species, or a technologically dependent species that has an implant, that has implants. And I'm talking about specifically about Elon Musk's Neuralink technology. It's great to help people, quadrupeds, be able to walk and things like that. But when we talk about replacing a cell phone with putting an implant in our head, I don't trust the big tech people. And I think that we run a real danger of them being able to turn off our emerging psychic abilities that are coming. So I think mankind is growing, and people are being more in touch with their intuitive selves and their psychic abilities more than ever. And it's a good thing. I just say we're at a dangerous place. Like, people we need to access ways to develop these abilities because it's happening across the board to everybody. And we see a dangerous precedence where they want to create implants and glue us to technology even more, fuse the cell phone to us even more than we already have. And so I think that there's a concern.
Elena.
Well, every civilization in the universe that is not interfered by external factors is developing their technology in balance with their spiritual development. When we say spiritual development, it's not going towards something higher than the being's consciousness. It's actually going inwards and discovering our connection to source. In a non-interfered civilization, the beings that develop on a planet are developing without any constraint to tune in with their very ability, which is the ability of every sentient being in the universe, to activate something in them that is enabling them to interface with source consciousness. And by this interface, you have access to the whole knowledge of the universe. How do you do that? You ask a question and the answer appears to you. You understand, you understand the answer. And this ability that we, the human beings on Earth, are rediscovering has been tampered with and blocked and constrained by external factors on Earth. Regressive extraterrestrials that have developed a deep state, what we call the Illuminati, people who have developed through different organizations nowadays to techniques to lock these abilities in a human being. And they want to replace it by technology to make these humans believe that they're stupid and they need technology to be intelligent. So, but that's what the deep state planned to do. Of course, they have failed, and I don't see a future for that. So now we need to catch up with the technology that is available. We need to catch up with our consciousness abilities, which are not unnatural abilities. And I think the human beings are really incredible. They are astonishing. They are doing that so fast. At the moment they understand what it is about, once understanding is activating, remembering is activating. Thoran always says this. So when you remember who you are and your abilities, it goes so fast. It goes so fast, so the technologies like the implants are just technologies, just tools. Now, the concern is about who is using them and who is using these tools to what purpose. So that's the whole discussion. But once the dark controllers are really down, I mean, look at these technologies on many other cultures. I know it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary what it enables, and it's not an obstacle to the consciousness evolution and the reconnection to source and the amazing exploration of consciousness abilities. It's not an obstacle. It is something that can assist sometimes and assist with other things in life, such as just piloting a ship or getting technology instruments to work, or communicating with other, people, races, or anything, tools, weapons, because it's not all peaceful out there. So that would be my commentary on it.
Thank you so much.
Humans are doing great.
Yeah, I totally understand the world at large being really anxious and untrusting, as they should be, because in recent years, the abuse of technology on the planet has been run at such a terrifying level. So to the point of having nanotechnology infiltrated into many bodies, and this nanotechnology is self-assembling technology. That's terrifying. And we know it was planned for a massive takeover to create us to be hive-minded, plugged into one consciousness and controlled like friggin' robots. That failed, but it shows that technology and that capability is there in the wrong hands. And so now what we're doing is highlighting, as you are doing, on other planets that are a higher density and dimension to us, which is where we should have been, but we were put into a third density environment. We are now moving out of that. That is our natural way of every being. The planet has self, all those frequencies. So we are less at risk of being pulled into a prison trap, a situation. And I would like to imagine that as technology progresses, as we all get used to what our brothers and sisters do on Era, for example, what they do in the Galactic Federation of Worlds on the ships, on the battleships that say protecting themselves and us, that we would have confidence and trust that no matter what we took technology-wise, we would have personal control over our personal being, where we could disconnect something, we could reprogram something. This, I think, is something that would make humanity feel a lot more comfortable knowing like what we're moving into. I saw a video of some silly woman who took a something under the skin, and she's getting her shopping and her fags and her beer, and oh look, scanning, and then she's got it. It doesn't need her wallet or anything or her phone, and she's all happy. And then she's locked out of her house. She can't get in her car. It's a complete failure. But this was a while ago, and again, it was when the darker energetic technological warfare was still very much in existence. So we're looking at a much higher level, aren't we, Elena, as we kind of move forward?
Yes, it's when a civilization become reasonable, and when they don't have, reasonable in their government, when they don't have a dark over control like we have had on Earth, you cannot also do generalities with technology. You cannot. There are cultures in this universe who have totally failed and messed up themselves, who have transformed their world in robotic hell, where and nothing alive exists anymore, not a blade of grass. Some cultures have done that because they have allowed technology to take over the spiritual development. It's all about balance. So you can't say technology is good, is bad, this type of technology is good or bad, this type is good or bad. Everything is neutral. It depends what you do with it. What's good or bad is the intention you put in it.
Absolutely.
What I was mentioning earlier about the dangerous time where we're at as a crossroads is strictly based on the track record of our technology that we have access to, the people that are running it. Their track record is one of lying to us. So, if our government and big tech, if the fact checkers were actually checking the facts and it was trustworthy, we said, oh, that makes perfect sense. But none of it has made sense for the last 8 years or so, right? And the big tech has a lot of egg on their face these days, right? Since the transition of power has happened recently, we're seeing a lot of people slow their roll, and now they have egg on their face. A lot of the tech, like especially we saw it. I don't know how politically you want to get, but when we saw when Twitter was bought and they released what was going on behind closed doors back there, they were very untrustworthy in their practices, and so we have to have, it's exactly how you say, Elena. Our leaders have to become on a certain level trustworthy. And so then we know the technology is because it's coming. So we're going to have to keep up with, once we join the galactic community, we are going to have to get up to speed on not only technology, but spirituality as well, consciousness. I hate calling it's the same thing when you say spirituality, consciousness, but
Yeah, yeah.
consciousness is really more, and I love your presentations where you're showing that it's part of the universe. Is conscious matter, energy, and consciousness are the same thing. And I really base a lot of my work off that as well. And we are going to go in that direction. I get in a lot of trouble for telling people there isn't a right and wrong. So here's where we go. So, Danny, we haven't really talked a lot about it, but we are going to tackle tough subjects in the next few conferences. And so what I talk about publicly between the people, because everybody, and I said, I don't believe in good and evil the way that they sell it to us. I don't. I don't believe that there's always a good guy that wears a cape and everything he does is good, or that there's a bad guy that's this evil that wants to hurt everyone. Everything he does is bad. Life has more contrast than that. And I get in a lot of pushback because people are sold on the point that there's a villain and a good guy, and follow the good guy and we're going to win. And so because it's BS, that's not right. It's perspective is most of what we see as good and evil. I boiled it down to this. I've been studying a lot of what I went through. I experienced people that we would define as very evil. I witnessed these practices. I lived for years in my 20 and back among people that were as bad as it gets. And I can boil it down to this. And so in moving forward, and I say this to people, and a lot of people, I have my small community. I'm in front of my own groups 4 or 5 times a week. And so I boil it down to this. People that we would define as evil are living the lie that they are disconnected from the rest of us. That their consciousness, if you will, is disconnected from the rest of the matter and energy and consciousness of everybody else in the universe. That they're separate and they only have to worry about themselves. And so all the other matter and energy and consciousness of the universe is beholden to them and their needs at that moment. It's their perspective that is evil. The opposite is somebody that realizes quite correctly that we are all connected to the matter and energy and consciousness with each other. And that is somebody we would define as righteous, somebody that has other people's needs as at the same level as their own. And so that's good and evil in our regard. So these people are only mistaken in living the lie that they think they're somehow disconnected from source and from the rest of us. And that's what we're seeing. And these people have been running the show because they get away with it with their silence, and their secrecy has allowed them to do so over time. Like you said, I don't know exactly the truth, but probably with external influence, so that we could be easily controlled and marshaled to use for resources. So that's an easier system put these people in charge. But they're living a lie, and that hurdle they have to learn that lesson before our technology and spirituality are going to make sense, I guess, moving forward. I'm done with myself. I get a lot of trouble for saying that.
Oh, no.
But I'm going to say that's the rock I die on right now. People, good and evil is not what we think it is.
Not black and white, but then that's like the programming and training that every person pretty much has had, that there's just good and just evil. Like there's nothing in the middle, like you say, the contrast, because people do different things for different reasons. But again, we are burgeoning, the science of consciousness is at a level now where we are growing, we are claiming, and those who felt they had no power, no control, over their whole lives, they're suddenly realizing, oh my God, look how powerful I am. I'm amazing. You know what I mean? So everything's happening all at once. I think our special guest is about to join us. I think he's texting all of us at this point.
Yes.
We'll allow him to step in. I think the audience will be delighted. Let me see how much time we have. Yeah, we have some time here. But yeah, it's quite incredible. And again, we're remembering to remind people how they can access their memories from different situations, whether it's in this life, whether it's a 20 and back, because there is a lot of confusion. And also with false memories, people want to be part of a secret space program because it's also helping them go down a different road that may be fantasy, but stopping them from actually dealing with their real trauma. Yes, Elena.
Well, I may say something you told me, Tony, from the start of when knowing each other, talking about the way to remember things. And you said to me, you need to have a vivid memory at the start and go and build from there. You need to have something real and tangible at the start, real memories, and you want to know more about it. That's your anchor. You told that to me. And that always stayed because I see so many people who have no solid memory. They just want to be a super soldier, or they just want to be Starseed or whatever, but they do not have any anchor. And so they are going to do some hypnosis, and it's very, I think it's not, cannot be always objective.
It's worse than that. So recently somebody sent me and they said, so I was in the program, and I said, well, what do you remember? Well, I don't remember anything. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, I had a remote viewer tell me. It was remote viewed. And I said, well, send me that. And I saw it, and it was not a remote viewing whatsoever, not even close. It was a fiction. It was an essay that sounded fiction. And it was, oh, here we go.
Continue. We'll bring him on in a second.
How does this sound?
Okay, continue, Tony, and we'll bring him in a second.
Well, I was just going to say that there's a lot of people that are out there that are telling people what they want to hear and selling it as hypnosis and remote viewing, and it's neither. It's people that are making up a fictional story and telling people, and then people are running with it. JP came and went. He's got a tech diff.
Yeah.
And it's very dangerous. That's a very dangerous thing, and it sounds like an op to me. It's number one, it's exploiting people by taking advantage of what they want to hear. They're paying money for these. And it's exploitation on one, and number two, it's clouding up the water for people that are genuine, that have a real tangible memory that they can pry open and get more memories. You have to have something that you can see in your mind's eye as a memory before you can worry about if you were in a program or not.
That's it.
That's just the way it's got to be. You can't, no one can tell you that you were abducted by ETs.
That's it.
There he is.
All right. Can you
Beautiful.
guys
There
hear
it
me now?
is.
Welcome, our
Yes.
beloved JP. How are you, darling?
How you doing, Donnie? Doing good?
Good, looking good. Looking as fit as a butcher's dog, as we say in the UK.
Oh, look at the pep. I saw the
Oh,
pep
you're
pop.
handsome.
Love it. So, JP, welcome, my darling. We were going deeply into memories, how people recall their memories from past lives, but also how we sometimes get triggered into remembering. We were also talking about technology, how it's been used, how it's being planned to be used with implants in the future, but how we are also aware of the nanotechnology that self-organizes and has really been corrupting mass humanity, the plan to plug us all into the Borg or into the hive consciousness that was taken down. So just to kind of catch you up, that's where we're at. We were sharing personal stories of like Elena and I, and remember our times in an Anunnaki environments, and Tony recalling memories from SSP. Now we'd love for you to share some of the ways that you have been able to recover memories yourself from past life events that you've had.
Okay, so there's different ways to do things like that. And meditation, it's one way to recall your experiences, and also the way you eat, the vibration of what you intake into your body and you affect your bloodstream with. It is really important to eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of healthy oils, to induce the body to go through that route in order to recover memories. And also locations, different types of locations where would activate certain. So I go in certain parts of the base and my memory activates. I don't know if we have a technology. I think we do have a technology that, depending how far you are, the radius you are from this particular technology or machine, this machine can activate through frequencies and vibration your memories. So all these phone towers that we see, we have to be really vigilant, because some of these technologies can also suppress memory and suppress different types of experiences that you had that you can't bring out. So, but there's also white hat technology that if you get close to it, it will activate uh, these. And I think also ET crafts, some ET crafts have that capability to activate certain memories and have these types of technology. So all these things that we see flying around right now is activating a lot of people around the world. And that's why we're moving towards this narrative of, wow, ETs are real. Yes. No more people with tinfoil hats, because everything that we have been saying for years is happening. And a lot of people are remembering their experiences. And there's different techniques like Tony does, like remote viewing as well, that can also uh, help you out in memories. Because I think in remote viewing, if I'm not mistaken, you can also remote view the past and the future.
That's true.
So that can also activate certain memories uh, if you unite with somebody that has the capability of doing that. So yeah, that's how I think. For me, more, I think I'm getting close to certain ships and certain technologies that help me activate my memories.
Beautiful. Now, just for people who've never seen you before on my channel, you are the great JP. You have worked and still work in military environments. You are wearing a helmet, not because you want to be Superman or, you know, a ranger, a Power Ranger. You are wearing a helmet for your identity to protect yourself. You are someone who has been prolific on our planet at this time for bringing information out of the inner circle of Space Force and Space Command in a secret military environment where you were given permission by higher ups, generals and higher in the army to bring information about technology on our planet and expeditions that you went on, where you have been to the moon, you have been to Jupiter, you have been to the moon of Ganymede and other, haven't you, JP?
I have, and it's been a like I was talking yesterday with Scott McKay and Dr. Sala. We were doing a beautiful interview. When you experience these, people do want to suppress what you experience. People that don't want you to bring out the truth. So once you come back, there's a process that you people go through to erase memories, but there's still people that remember stuff and they stay quiet until they get the green light to talk about it. And you can't just talk about these things because when you experience that, it's like entering a Lamborghini for the first time. You're like, oh, wow,
Mhm.
I can't believe I'm experiencing that. So it's like it's an experience that you feel in your interior, in your DNA when you leave Earth atmosphere. You have to adapt to other planets' vibration and heartbeat, and it takes time. So there's a reason that we do um, we do rotations around planets prior of landing because we have to have our body and our ships uh, get used to the vibration of the planet. And well, that is the right way to do it. But there is certain people that they just go in and out, and it doesn't affect them that much. But everything is connected with frequency and vibration. And Albert Einstein talked about that. Everything is connected in a way. I can move my finger, and by me moving my finger, it can affect you, Nani. It can affect Elena. It can affect Tony. It's an amazing thing. So it's something beautiful, but in the same time, you have to protect these memories because there's still things in between these missions that you do that you don't want other people to know for the protection of this world and the protection of this, you know, uh, solar system that we live in.
Mhm. Well, we're so grateful that you have come out, physically. You came out for the very first time physically at our Galactic Spiritual Informers connection, our beautiful
And you
conference
said, yeah.
that we all spoke at just a couple of months ago. And not only did you come out physically for the first time to the joy of almost 1,000 people, the four of us actually also stood witness to a majestic spacecraft flyover over our conference, over the hotel in a no-fly zone, a no-F drone zone. We also witnessed a military craft, a triangular TR-3B. Now, those that come to my channel regularly, yes, I talk about it pretty much every single broadcast and will continue because we made history. We made world news and it is nowhere. And we will keep on talking
And,
everywhere. Go ahead,
and
Jake.
it was one of the first ones too. Now, people talking about New Jersey, around the world, Manchester, and all these contacts that people are having, but that contact that we had in GSIC was one of the first ones that I think branched out all the other contacts that our people are getting right now. After that, everything started bombing in contacts. So I don't know if people notice that. If they look at the date and they look at the history of how everything started uprising in contacts and uprising in visual connection, and also Congress started talking more about it after that And yes, there is people trying to suppress that that experience. And that's how it is also when you go out in space, people try to suppress the experience. Over 1,000 people saw these in Colorado saw this contact, and there's different techniques and different ways people do to try to erase that. And people need to understand that when you have an experience like that, I know that everybody was overwhelmed because I remember when I talked about it, everybody was so excited about it. But there's also characters that try to, in a negative way, try to take that away, and that's wrong because they're being manipulated by somebody else. Who are manipulating these people that are, um, calling these things drones or calling these things other different things when we know that these people are throwing videos with orbs floating in front of their yard, communicating with them. Like these are not drones. Uh, they had the name UFO, UAP. Now they're calling it drones. So it's a way of manipulation and trying to erase the experience and and erase the vibration where we all need to be in love, united. Like, look at what President Trump is doing. Um, he's going nation by nation, shaking people's hand and saying, hey, we need to be together and we need to move forward. So I think we are in beautiful times, and all that negative stuff, is going to stay behind. But I know in the future, we're going to have more contacts, and it's going to be overwhelmingly provable that we are connected to these beautiful ETs that are trying to help us out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to jump in before anybody else says anything because it's very, very important to precise the fact that thank you for pointing out that we were pretty much the first to bring out a space fleet that we knew were coming because we planned it. We planned the day, the time, the location, and we told 1,000 people, come outside, have a look up, you're going to see spacecraft. And then we saw a military craft fly over, the TR-3B, that apparently in some regard aren't even supposed to be a thing. They're not even supposed to be admitted that the Navy has these TR-3Bs. Regardless of all of that, there was one person on this planet who arranged that. And this woman gets so much hate and vileness thrown at her. But yes, Elena, you take that vow and you take that bow because you are the one that did it. And balls to you other guys. And I'll just say one more thing. I have noticed, I said this a couple of months ago to Elena. I said, I'm seeing some people that I also know, and it seems that they've kind of hit a ceiling in their emotional intelligence and they're kind of lopsiding and their ego is kind of creeping up. What I've come to realize is that these people also have gray program in them. And I had no idea. And I realized the other day, my God, this lovely man I just adored and thought was the best of the best, he's got gray programming in him. That's why he can't expand. That's why he's attacking everyone, attacking you, attacking the team. It's really quite incredible, isn't it? Elena, how does it feel to be the one that proved the Earth military know you, the White Hats, the Earth Alliance, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and that you organized that with Thorhan Array? Hey, take a bow, Elena Denan. You've earned it, lady.
Well, I'm just doing my job, but the mission I've chosen, Danny, there's no glory for me. I'm just doing my work. I came here to do that. That's it. And the difference with all the other sightings that we are seeing now of spheres and ships, it's that this one was scheduled with a location, a window of time, and in a no drone fly zone, with no NORAD just next door. Anyways, but then I actually explained it in not me, Thorhan Eredion. I just read his statement. He explained it that it was the start. He mentioned it, and it was the start of a wave of sightings of ships. Thorhan Eredion made a gift to you, Danny, to do it there at your conference. because you're doing so much. He said he really insists on the fact that it was a gift to you, and this is the door opening suddenly the rest of the other sightings. It's why NORAD? Why NORAD? Is involved? How it is involved in this? As Thorhan explained, he has connections with NORAD. He gave this information to General Van Herk in 2022. The update of the disclosure plan of alien presence on Earth, and now the new NORAD commander is someone that has been working with the Galactic Federation of Worlds for a long time. He was working with them in the Solar Warden programs. He's involved with them for a long time. So they are very acquainted, and they are going to go further into disclosing more and more spaceships. A lot of them are Earth-made, retro-engineered technologies, but there's also alien ships. And all these orbs are I don't want to use the word drone, because that's the word that the deep state uses to, not Earth-made drones. I mean, a drone, what is a drone? It's a remote controlled device that is going to allow some people somewhere else, on a ship or somewhere else, to see remotely a location, or even perform actions remotely. They are still unmanned crafts, because it's still dangerous. The deep state is still around, but they are unmanned crafts. So it's just the beginning, people, and it's going to get more and more and faster. It's normal that the counterintelligence is trying to throw dirt as this disclosure plan. That's all what they have left, So we don't pay attention. We just embrace the change and the start of this new era of contact with the brothers and sisters of humanity from the stars. And we are actually, us three here in our own domains, are trying to do our best to assist humanity with this change.
And something also that I want to also bring out too, Elena, that I know people know and want to, understand, that these ET's craft, they also have their type of drone and orbs that they send out to do recon prior of communicating with us. So the military and other governments around the world, they know this, that other ships have their types of drone, but their drone is so advanced, because drone is also a definition of something doing recon prior of real communication happening. And these UAPs that come down that are connected to other ships and have consciousness, people need to understand that they are trying to communicate with us now. And it started with that experience that we had in GSIC. I think that was a portal that it was open in that particular day that started all these events. And Elena, you've been saying this for a long time, that they're going to start communicating. And I've been saying this. Tony has been saying this. Donnie has been saying this. So people need to understand and do their homework and look at our past information and tie the knots together and know what these information and how this information is going to help humanity, because people are really excited right now that Congress is talking about this, that people are seeing experiences. There's people seeing ships all over Guyana in Brazil in the past 2 weeks as well, where I had my experiences. They're communicating with people, and sooner or later, we're leading this, and we're leading disclosure, and I'm happy about that. And there's going to be more people involved in bringing out truth information, but there's also, there's always negative people. So we have to keep that in mind and fight for the good always.
Always.
And we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be awesome with these new technologies that are coming out. We are in good hands. The Earth is in good hands right now.
Mhm. The Manchester Airport in the UK in England reported a series of drones that were landing on the runway, etc. Elena, can you give us insight into what and who that was, and anyone else that wants to add after?
Well, these drones were of extraterrestrial manufacturing, and they are part of the plan of disclosure of alien presence on Earth, working with the governments. And if the drones were allowed to land on an airport, I mean, the authorities allowed it, okay? Otherwise, you mean, they would have been shot at, or there would have been a lockdown of the airport. No, hey, everybody's here to see. Look, we allow ET drones to land, isn't it? So that shows also the uh, collaboration of the government now, because the governments are changing, passing in the white hat side, you know. So it's the wave of liberation that is swiping through Europe at the moment as well. These crafts, yes, it's when you were mentioning, JP, that these drones are able to communicate with people, but of course, you know, some are even made, some are made with metal, some are made with plasma, only balls of plasma. And plasma, of course, can be intelligent, but can hold technology, you know? So,
Memory.
so yeah.
It holds memory. It holds where they were prior. It holds a historical um, GPS memory of where they have been, and they bring that information with them and try to share it with us to see if we can interact. But there's so many people that are hard headed, you know, that they, even if they see this in front of their face, they still deny it, you know. And sometimes people do need real contact to understand, like, wow, this is real. Some people need face to face contact, and soon, I'm telling you, soon there's gonna be a lot of people um, having that experience in their own bedroom, and people that are gonna accept it the way they do, but people that don't accept it, like maybe religious people or something like that, they're gonna have a rude awakening when these ETs start showing up in their bedroom and they show love and they show their experience, you know, because everything's connected for them. There's no boundary, you know. They see Earth as one, humanity as one. There's no lines when they look in space and they see Earth. There's no lines. Everybody's as one. So they don't understand sometimes when they see bombs flying over different places. Like, what are these people doing? Why are they wasting their time having war when they can just work together and have a Star Trek future? But it's going to be a rude awakening for those that are non-believers when they start showing up in their rooms. I'm not trying to scare nobody or nothing like that. And then probably the religions faction, they're going to probably say, oh, that's Satan, that's Lucifer, da, da, da. But no, it's going to have a rude awakening when people start being visited. And physical contact will occur. And it's going to be an amazing experience for some, but it could be scary for others because they will never accept it. Is this they're in a state of mind of non-acceptance, but it's just going to happen. People are going to have to accept it.
So, Tony, coming to you, because Tony, you've managed to do something most humans have not. In this last few decades, when you were taken by the military and put into, against your will, a secret space program, you did what few people have done. I know I've said it twice, but I'm going to land a point here. As a little child to a young man in that program, you witnessed different technologies used on the moon, used on Ceres, used on Mars, when you were in Mars, on the military base that exists on Mars. Mars is already occupied. Tony, what you did was you brought that technology back to our planet. And I wish more people would, or those that say they've been here and there, they can't prove it. They have got no access to technology. But you, my love, you did it. Can you please share with us some of the technology that you have brought back to this planet, please?
So it's a work in progress. There's a bunch of things I'm working on now. Recently with the psychology around the adaptive media and the learning company that I've started is based on what I went through when they put me through training on Mars, when they retrained me. That was a technology. And recently, so just in the last few months, I've solved the audio parts of that. And I was sharing that with you off. I wanted to touch on what JP was saying is that we are programmed, people are programmed that even when they get good news, they think the other shoe is going to drop. So really, like if you take the average American and you give them and say, hey, you won. Here's your ticket. You won. It's $100,000. You've won. They're not going to go, yay. They in their mind, they're waiting on where's the catch? Where's the negative? Where's the other shoe that's going to drop? I'm going to get in trouble, aren't I? Like we can't, and then months later, they'll still be waiting for that. That's the level of programming. That's the same space technology that they were using on Mars, on me, training me in the reverse. We get it through our media. You are getting subliminal messaging. You are getting tones that change your vibration, your frequency, and your consciousness, your brainwave state is changed. It only takes 2 minutes to hypnotize somebody with a television, and which is coincidentally how long the commercial breaks are minimum. They're 2-minute blocks. And it just takes that long. So we are constantly bombarded with the same technology. What I'm trying to do is an adaptive media and use the same exact technology for a goal of learning, for something that's more amicable to everybody in a conscious manner. And then with adaptive, it literally adapted as I watched it. So I was plugged into a learning to something, and it adapted. It knew what I was looking at, how I was reacting to the information, and what I was absorbing, what form of media I absorbed, and that's what I'm working on for a student. And you can adapt this to anything. It's easier said than done, but we've come a long way. I've been at it for a couple of years now. We've come a long way. I'm trying to think of anything else. The other one. So I'm working on with unlocking the way that I've got the audios to work. We're actually working on a deprogramming audio. So I'm right now I'm running a suite of these. This is the precursor to what would be a learning software or a learning module. So if you're going to learn something, it begins with an audio tone. I was in a room with a tall, gray isn't the word. It was like a white looking like a gray. He was the professor, my teacher, and he plugged me in, and I listened to binaural tones for 6 minutes. And he said 6 minutes was all you needed for what was going to happen. And it was to make me receptive to the lesson plan that I was going to get. And I always remembered that. And when I discovered binaurals long ago, I remembered that. That was a memory that came. And so that's always been an essential part of the learning process of Maple Street Learning that I've been working on. And I've worked on how to create my own and not take somebody else's for the last year, better than a year. And I've spent a lot of money on it. And now I have the ability to do these. Not only that, but in a very, very high-tech way. So I can produce binaural effects without the headphones. I can do it with one speaker. I can layer bilaterals and isotronics in there. So I'm starting to create audio products that are really awesome. I have a successful one and a motivational one. We're going to work on a depression, grief. So you can just play a thing and it will help you, absorb grief, because we all sadly are eventually going to experience that. But deprogramming. So that's another thing of deprogramming all the crap that we're getting in media. So these are products that I can put out quick that are going to happen very shortly. I actually have some out through my Patreon that are selling already. And it's a very promising realm. This is the first layer of what Maple Street Learning will be, just the audio suites. And these are things that are going to be bolted on. But what I've found is that with the people that I've given them to, that listen to them, are just blown away, because your media that you're listening to, that you're ingesting, affects your brainwave state. It literally does. The media, they have the people that are really have wizardry. We're on a YouTube here. This is our show. Danny, this is your show. You're recording this. we're in a Zoom meeting. There's not a lot of intake or adjustment to the carrier waves or any of the sound waves that we're listening to right now. But these are all things that can happen, that do happen when you're watching the football game. When you're watching the Super Bowl, those commercials are programming you in a very effective way. And so I'm just unlocking it for me. This is something that they used up on Mars. Like I said, it began with a binaural tone session. The adaptive media began with that. Like these were ETs that were using this technology. So when I discovered binaurals, here, I knew that there was credence and I knew that they were going to play a bigger role in society. And now that they have bilaterals, we actually are exposed to binaurals that change our brainwave state quite often. So if you pay attention, most people are unaware. You just hear tone or we tone. You think it does nothing. It can change your brainwave state. They can take you. You can be in a very alert state of mind, and they can take you into a very subtle state of mind, unbeknownst to you. So these are things I'm working on currently. There's a lot of other stuff. I'm working on the obelisk thing, was working out great. I'm very happy with it, very pleased. A lot of people have had some good input on it. And we all know Dan Willis and the Vogel crystal and the frill generator. Oh, there goes my camera. Sorry. I zoom in on my camera. It's got a zoom to it. I can do this stuff too. Oh.
We know that you're beautiful, Tony. We know.
Anyhow, those crystals are great, and that frill energy, what you guys are working on, other people are working on them as well. They're all over the place, and it's a viable, but a crystal is only so big. So you can only get so big of a clear quartz crystal to create the effect. So I'm working on recreating what was already in ancient Egypt, where giant obelisks with crystal content. And what I've done is add chemicals that were piezo and dielectric to an obelisk mold with resins, and it's working. It works. So this is something that also works alongside the audio technology. So you put the audio and you can broadcast it through these things. Sorry if I'm going on. It sounds weird. I don't want to jump off the deep end of this stuff, but these are things that are working, and every step of the way it's working. So that's all I'm saying. I'm gonna leave that there. That the stuff I'm working on researching based on what I remember is working, is effective.
Before I come back to JP, I just want to say again, Tony, the four of us here are doing work on different levels, all in the name of love for humanity. We've all seen, we've all witnessed, we've all experienced different things. And for you, Tony Rodriguez, to be able to prove with receipts and locations and redacted documents that were in the government archives, when you stepped forward as you have and you said, I was on Mars, I was on Ceres, I was here, I was there, proven against NASA, saying this was a salt geyser on Ceres, for example. And not only that, Tony, but recreated technology off another planet. Yeah, I want to know who else has been able to do that before I come back to JP. Also, you consistently are in, alignment with the child in you that is forever healing, as the child in us is forever healing. But your love for children, your love for education, your love for wanting to change education on the planet, as I myself have spent years involved with children and trying to change the curriculum, as most of us have and care about. It's just amazing, and it needs a salute, an honoring to you, Tony. Now, are you still looking for investment? Because people that have the big wallets and don't know what to do with them and really want to help humanity, put your money where your mouth is and get in touch with Tony Rodriguez and do something to support humanity in the education of your children, right, Tony?
Thank you. The company is set up for investment. I've had investors, and we're on a shoestring budget. So there are things. The difference that money makes is time. So if I don't have another dime of this, I'll carry it on. It'll just take me longer time. That's what's going on. The idea is that what I started out with an original plan of how I was going to reverse engineer this technology and do it. And everybody that saw the original plan of it was impressed. And it is something that's viable. That's going to be applicable to the future. But what has happened since then till now is the AI tools, and not AI taking it over, but AI being an assistance to the media generation. And what we have is the ability, with proper investment, to create a learning system platform that can teach everything all at once for everybody. So rather than just making it for an eighth grader, making this software, this program that generates adaptive media that does these things to deprogram and program. You're programming. Education is programming. When you're programming the right things, we have the ability to build something, a software that we can just say, look, this person is 11 years old. We need to learn division, teach them long division and math. And it spits it out. And then it watches how they respond, at what level they can intake the information, and throttles it so that they get the optimum amount of instruction. And then that same exact software. So I thought it was going to be one. We started out, I've dumped a lot of money into a preschool. And we started out and it was the wrong direction because preschool kids don't learn A and B, C. It's about their emotional development. It's a completely another animal. The other thing is this software. So then that same thing we can say, this person is 21, teach them algebra. And it can spit out that adaptive media and do the same thing. So I'm looking and instead of making a million different products under all of the individual subjects, to make one thing, one AI driven software that's got strict guidelines that can do all of it at once. I mean, how to fix your tire, how to change the alternator on your car, to algebra, to science, to reading and English. So something that has that capability. And that technology really only presented itself in the last couple of years since the company was formed. So yes, I am securing and I selling parts in the company. I'm going to own very, very, very little, less than 1% of the company when it's all said and done. The rest of it's all for sale. I'll have control of it, and it'll have a strict set of guidelines. It's not open. It's the shareholders are not going to be in charge of the company, but they're already shareholder. There's a great opportunity there to buy into this. It's a massive market, massive business.
Brilliant. And you're straightforward to people watching. It's TonyRodrigues.com. TonyRodrigues.com. JP, I was about to come to you, my love, and also make reference to the fact that you are also inventing and a bit of an inventor, bit of a scientist on the side. Not to put you on the spot, darling, but is there anything that you would like to share at this point?
Wait, you're talking to me or to Elena?
Darling, to you.
Oh, yeah. I've been talking to a lot of different military personnel that has been out, like for example, Emery Smith and David Adair. We have a couple ideas also with I'm starting to talk to Tony Rodriguez also. We have a couple ideas too. That we can probably in the future we can get together and work on. And I believe also Elena. I think soon I'll talk to her about something that I found out to confirm with her to see if it will work out with the scientists that she's working with and the scientists that I'm working with. And I have developed in the first part when I first met Dr. Sala, I developed something that can heal. That is a portable type of like med bed or something that you just put over your body that heals you in a certain way. So using frequency and vibration and electricity, what your body's made of, and it got taken away from me. So yeah, we do have to be careful when we develop these different technologies and 0 point technologies and technology that can heal you. And even though I just posted in my Instagram, there's people out there developing 0 point energy and technology that it's going to be exciting. And it's going to be different branches of technology coming out at once because of all these contacts that we're having, like Tesla was having. So Elon Musk, he's going to come out with a lot of different technologies as well. I know a lot of people think he's in another realm, but I think he's going to do good with the Trump administration, I believe. And there's going to be people coming out out of nowhere. A farmer is going to come out of nowhere and is going to have a technology that we're going to be like, how did you get that? And and yeah, soon we're going to have these technologies that a cell phone and a computer is going to look like a Lego. So I'm excited for all these beautiful technologies going to come out and help humanity for the better.
That's so beautiful. And again, just to highlight, for example, JP and Tony in particular, and got Elena's job as the emissary for the Galactic Federation and bringing the armies of good together off and on planet is one massive job in itself. Writing her great book, educating the masses on the origins of humanity. Come on, she's busy. But then for JP and Tony, who've been off planet, to be able to bring technology back that they've both seen, create it, invent it for the good of humanity. You hear the difference, ladies and jelly beans? You hear the difference? I am so proud of you guys. I'm so happy that, you're my inner circle. You're my friends and you stand for humanity and you stand for love. And I'm just so, so proud of you. Now, we're bringing this beautiful broadcast to a close. We've got a few minutes left. I would like to start with Elena Danan for you to gift into the fields any particular messages that you have at this time for our brothers and our sisters.
I would invite everyone to open their mind to the change, open their mind to the unbelievable, because what is coming is going to blow your minds. So the first and the best way to be prepared to what is coming in matter of contact with people who were born somewhere else on other worlds, the best thing to do is to start here and now with yourself and yourselves. Stop judging the differences, because what's coming is very different to anything you've known until now. And these people are benevolent. The bad deities have been chased out of the star system and are not coming back. The people that are coming to you, that are making contact, that have started to make contact in many different ways, are good people. Are good people. There is not going to be any blue beam operation. It's the deep state is going to try to tell you, do not trust these ETs. They are bad. They're going to invade you. That's just to put you off. Just come on, let it go, guys. You can just start by stop playing the games of the deep state of division. Stop judging, admitting other people have different opinions, and it's okay. It's okay to think differently. And you will be ready to speed up this contact that is coming anyway. Star people are already infiltrated in the societies. Maybe you are in a few hours, next hour, you're going to the restaurant or the supermarket. There may be an ET beside you and you don't know about it, because some are looking exactly like you. But what's coming is the other races as well, those who don't look human. And that is a diversity with beauty. You will reconsider the norms of beauty. I can assure you. I can assure you. So be prepared, be ready, be open. And anyone who struggles with this, criticizes, who's trying to be a party pooper, love them. Use compassion, because they are on their journey as well. And for them, it's gonna get really weird.
Brilliant.
My words.
Thank you, lovely. JP, final words, darling.
I just want to say that everybody is beautiful and there's love in the air. You just have to know how to grab it and put it into yourself and share it with others. And I believe that everybody wants this to happen. Everybody, we're going through that same mentality that everybody wants this to happen. Everybody wants contact. Everybody wants closure. Everybody wants to live in love. Connected with the inner Earth people, with the people that are working our soul systems, and also the people that are living on Earth and in our oceans. We need to be connected in the same mindset. And I love you guys so much. Danny, I'm sorry if I entered really late. Um, but when you go through these experiences, time does not exist for you sometimes. So you're like, you know, you go in these missions in space, you don't know nothing about time. You just do these missions and come back, and you're like, whoa, okay, it's 8 o'clock. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience that I couldn't come on time and to talk and give more of my experiences and all that. I love you guys. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Donnie, for giving me the opportunity to come here. And if you want more information of my mission and all that, go to exopolitics.com with Dr. Michael Sala. And right there, you can see my experiences and the books that Dr. Sala is writing about my experience as well. I love you guys. Akuria Mate.
Kuria Mate. Thank you, JP. And Tony, your final words, darling.
I don't know. I think he finished it very good. I love you guys. Every time I hang out with you guys, I learn something, and I learned something about myself too. So thanks for having me here. Really happy to see. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and our work just keeps getting better. So, we're not a one-trick pony, none of us. And so it's really wonderful to see what we're developing too, and it keeps getting better and better until we get to the point where we're going to have a disclosure, and then it'll be very validating. I can't wait for those days. I want to say that the theme of everything, like I said, I'd like to point out that people that think that they're separate from other people are on that path that basically leads to destruction of themselves and everything around them. When you realize that that everything is conscious, everything is the same thing, and you consider yourself a part of that it's not us versus them, it's us and us, and that there's not a win and a loss, it's a win and a win. And when you adopt that mindset, everything begins to change for you. And that's what I've learned. That's what I've learned from what you've given me, Danny and Elena and JP, being my friends, and the opportunities that you've given me. That's what I've learned is it's not a win-loss, it's a win-win. And you just keep playing. You just keep going. And that's what life really is. And we're in that good groove right now. If you adopt this mindset, you will see dividends paid to you. So if you adopt that mindset, it will pay off, and it has. So that's where we're at, and that's where the world is at today, and it's a very good thing. So onward and upward.
Thank you, guys.
And we're ready for GSIC. We're ready for GSIC to bring this good information and this love to everybody.
Yes. The next GSIC is going to be May 10th and May 11th in England. And these guys are going to be there along with Dr. Michael Sala, Praveen Mohan, who is just has millions of people following his ancient technology in the Hindu temples, because we are going back to the root, to the origin of this humanity, my darlings. Now, we're also going to get together, the three of us, the four of us, including myself, on the Sean Atwood show on December the 18th, this coming week, with Ron Swanson and Beverly Rhodes. So we will be on the Sean Atwood show. Again, it will be a Christmas special. It is December 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern, with Beverly Rhodes, who's absolutely amazing, on the Sean Atwood show with Ron. We will be there, and we will send you our love. Akunia Mate. Akunia Mate. Bye, guys.